All right, here we are. We're a couple minutes late. Everyone should be coming in. We had to redirect where we are today. Hopefully everyone can see with this angle. I think you can. So let me back this up just a wee bit. There we go. There we are. That way we can see the pad and everything. All right, cool. I guess we could play some music, huh? Mm-hmm. What are we putting on the projector?
I don't know what we were doing.
No, that's dope. I mean,
I don't know. I don't remember what we were supposed to be. Oh, the list from last time.
Yes.
Let me see if I can mirror the.
Where's the HDMI?
Oh, in the box. Everything's in the box.
You got the HDMI. Ahead to me.
Is it this one?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Stress will do that to you. Right now, we're just we're putting some HDMI stuff. How's it going? Welcome. Which one is the HDMI? I think it's this side. Yeah. That's on this side.
One?
I believe so. And you probably have to change it from here. Yeah, good luck. Waiting for it to get from Amazon.
Okay, you know what? Let me get the instructions.
Okay.
You need anything from me?
I think right now we're good as long as we can get people directed in here. That's all I'm worried about.
Just did my whatever.
Awesome. That's going to help. Where is the input on this?
It feels much better in here now.
Yeah, get that little breeze in because it's going to get warmer. No. What did I do?
You need to pull that.
We can screen mirror? Oh, we can screen mirror. That's cool. Imports. Import input. All right.
The speaker.
Yeah. You want me to turn? Yeah, go turn it on. I can connect to it unless you want to.
No, I miss Rachel. Look at Rachel. I'm gonna take a picture and be like, dude, you left half of your face on here.
You left the caterpillar, bro.
What is this?
It's just we don't have enough wire, I guess.
Oh well, I have more extension cord right here.
Oh, you do?
It's
Okay.
connected to an extension.
As long as it connects to the computer, we should be okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
As long as you connect to the.
Oh.
I'm singing.
I made plans, so. Yeah, we're trying to, we could, after the first one, everybody was really excited and they were like, are you guys coming to Albuquerque? And we're like, you guys want us to?
Welcome.
So, that's great.
So we know it now? Okay, turn it back on.
Yes, yeah, it's on.
Yeah.
Let's just take a second power on. There we go. There we go. What is the button to do things? What's up?
The table
Okay,
forward.
cool.
Thanks, fellas. Thank you. We're just pulling the table forward a little more so that you guys can see the
projector.
Projector. Nicole.
We're gonna move it real fast, Nicole.
Thank you.
Should we try to turn part of the lights off?
If not, I have this, but I don't know how we can.
Well, it should be able to focus.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, we just need darker. I don't think the screen.
Just to take more time
Yeah.
to try to put it together.
Yeah. But there's a lot of.
Can you turn it off real quick?
I'll
Turn off the light real quick.
I'm gonna try to.
Let's see. Let's see.
I think that might be.
That is the same one, right? Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't check.
Yeah, because he's just gonna set up.
I'm like, he is, since we're going all over there, he's been better. I was gonna put him to sleep, you know, that's, we're gonna have to. Well, he's gonna have to. Yeah, so, yeah, no, that's, hopefully, we'll be there.
Can you look for music?
Oh, I'm assuming.
Stay out there.
I didn't even realize that.
Do you use for your music?
We'll be there first.
Because there was something that happened a couple weeks ago too, that I was gonna go to, I don't know where it was at. Just before this last one, she was here, and it was.
Ah, there we go. There it is. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah, it's in my house.
Bam.
So, yeah, so
You're this guy.
yeah.
Woo, yeah, I can see ourselves. All right, we're on the projector back here. Could you do me a favor? Can you go to the document in Google Drive and share it with an email?
Can I, who, what now?
Actually, I can do it. The Google document,
Oh, yeah.
and then I have to share it with this email. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, man.
And I moved up fast as I could over there though, but I mean,
It is what it is, you know.
and I honestly, we thought that it's just so much.
Dude, yeah, and like fucking timelines sometimes.
Yeah.
Gmail. Sorry. Okay, I got it. I should have it now.
Can we change it on the Facebook page?
Oh shit, yeah, if you could do that, that'd be dope. How's it going? You guys are here.
What's that?
1500 Alapuza. Charlie 330 is the suite. Oh shit. I did the wrong one. There we go. Hey, Val. Hey. We got your throne over here.
Oh, good. So well organized. She has markers in here.
First off, so far, thank you everybody for showing up. We're probably going to wait a couple more minutes, let more people trickle in. Then we'll get started here.
It's okay.
Everything worked out in the end. All right. Huh?
Streaming yourself.
I'm streaming myself.
Is there any way to make that bigger? No, I'm saying on here. Like full screen?
Oh, yeah. Go right here. What's the hotkey? Is that better?
Appaloosa, you said C.
C330.
Okay, so what's gonna be the structure? Who's doing intros, doing pros, who's doing cons, who's writing?
Okay, so I really want you two to spearhead this one. If you need my help, just I can jump in. I will start with you doing pros. Tracy can do the cons, and you guys can do writing if you want.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be here if you guys need get stuck or anything like that. So you guys can do the pros and cons, and then kind of together we can kind of hit at the end with people talking about shit to make it better or their little personal whatever, So we can do it that way. They're testimonies, the personal testimonies at the end. I couldn't think of the word, so we'll all do it at the end. Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. How's it going?
Oh, it's being passed around.
Yeah, passed around right now.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Yeah, down here, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you showed up, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah. Okay. So, we should be able to start here in a couple minutes. Yeah, I don't see why not. So yeah, I'm gonna have you two speak on this one. She's gonna start with one more.
Oh, when we're writing?
One more, right? One more. Like she's doing pros. She's doing. You do the pros.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just looked at it. Yeah. You guys got this? Just try to get the audio. Last time I gave it legislation not really wanted because something like that makes you eat all the information so that or if a topic comes up, just let you guys know full disclosure of this topic. If there's something you're not sure, I'll step in too. But I appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Okay, yeah.
What? Oh, I'll just go through the game plan with the girls and have them spearhead this one.
Yeah.
So I'll just decide.
Where's some markers?
Also, at some point, it's up to you guys. What's up?
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Should we share down a little bit that way that I'm not writing?
Hey, thank you for showing up. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of choosing this last time. What's up, guys? Glad you found the venue. All right, those in YouTube land, we should be starting here soon. I'm dark as shit on this. We got people trickling in. We had to change venues, so we're probably going to be a little bit late, but that's all right. What's up, brother? How you been? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes.
This is Eric.
Yeah. Hey, just let everybody know over here in the cooler we have water and we got some snacks too. So if you guys are parched, you want some munchies, help yourself. Oh shit. I'm not on the same network.
Oh, they're passing it.
She said there was.
So wait, you're already late?
Yeah, we're live right now. Let's go. You guys want to all start?
She would really like that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
How do you spell L?
Double P, double O.
Had a boy, Chad. I knew you had it in you. C3300.
Sorry, I forgot number.
People are messaging right now that they're on their way still. So I don't know if we want to wait.
Yeah, let's wait a few minutes. We'll wait a few more
Do
minutes.
we want to wait till like 5:30 and give them 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my girlfriend. Yeah, so she helps me like in a lot.
You can change the flyer real quick with the updated address in case people are missing.
Okay. I was trying to get everybody this link right here. Perfect.
Can you text me the like it or message
I'm
me?
doing that right now.
Perfect. You are the best. I am updating.
Actually, it's in the group. I sent it earlier. I just remembered that. Yes.
All that intro.
All right. What's up, Gino? Hey, our producer showed up. That's cool.
Hey, welcome.
What up? We're going to be starting probably in about 10 minutes. We're just waiting for people to come in. For those of you who just showed up, we're going to start here in about 10 minutes. We got more people trickling in. Sorry about the location change, but I'm glad you guys figured it out too.
And I think this is a nice, like, enclosed area to where we can make a hike.
Yeah,
We have one there, dude, but it's broken.
it's small enough.
What's up, guys?
What
Hey,
up?
some winners in the house.
Warehouse
How's it going? Good. I'm glad you guys came out feeling good after the wins or what? I'm so proud of you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Keep trying.
I'll keep that in mind, yeah, because this is
Hi.
You just have it
It
there.
will.
Okay.
It definitely
Yeah,
will.
for sure. And I'll take care of the snacks. Okay.
There's waters and snacks.
Yeah, whatever we need to do.
Oh, yeah, well, appreciate it, bro.
Everybody involved.
Appreciate it, man.
Serve the
Yeah.
community.
I'll get you my card at the end. See me afterwards.
And now I'm gonna explain.
I think this is my water.
Oh, wow, you out here drinking other people's water, Chad.
I'm like, I don't know whose it is.
Look, Peter. Oh, it changed. It finally changed.
Okay.
So now it'll be on there. It's already changed here as well. So we're good there.
I'll do a post in the group or for the event.
You said the link was in the group chat?
Yes, scroll up a little bit.
Ah. Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, 1 second. Let me just.
This is cool, actually.
I feel like it's just about the same. Which is great.
No, that's good.
But people are still showing up. So.
Yeah. What's up, buddy? I'll come to you, don't worry.
I'm like, he just sat down, Chad. Come on now.
I feel like it's because I
Hi, friends. Yes, hi, Tracy. Yes. I think the first time we met was at Highhorse when we had one of the events there, but it's been so long. But I'm glad you made it out. Thank you for the support. Why not come to this? Proud of you, man. Your content's awesome, by the way. I absolutely love it. Tag me in your stuff. I'll share it all the time, dude. Straight up. Yeah, that way you get the exposure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, man. We got this.
Está bien oscuro.
Ya sé, pero es que tenemos esto para que vean. So,
I just think it's like at an angle.
What up, buddy? Are we about ready?
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's start.
We got you a comfy chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that one.
All right, everybody, we're about to begin. Please take your seats. Town hall's about to begin.
Yay.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Nicole and Tracy are actually going to be leading this one. So enjoy, ladies.
Thank you. First, did everybody already sign up or sign in? Yes, yes, yes.
No, if you haven't, she has it
Passing
back
the
there.
sign up. Oh,
Okay.
I brought one too. Did you bring one?
Yeah, she
No,
did.
we got
have
it.
it.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
we have two going around.
Perfect. Okay, so while everybody's finished signing in, I'll go ahead and re-explain the purpose of this meeting. Essentially, it's just a form of data collection. So we're going to go over the pros first. We'll have 90 seconds to talk about your pros, 90 seconds to talk about cons, and then like at the end is when we will save time for personal testimonies and anything like that. So we want to keep it as factual as we can. We're just trying to present this information to the policymakers so we can actually see a change be done. So this is you using your voice, and just let us know what you think is the pros first. I'll do the pros, Tracy will do the cons, and then we'll do the testimonies at the end.
And real quick before we move forward, I just really want to give a huge shout out to Valerie Hubbard. In case you guys don't know who this person is, y'all need to meet her. A lot of the reason we're here is because of her. So a huge thank you to you, Val. We love and adore you. And the fact that you brought us together, we are super grateful. And it's literally without you, we would not be here. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And if you guys aren't familiar, Val was part of writing the bills that made medical cannabis legal here in New Mexico. She is part of El Paso Normal and super involved in the industry, has been since 1968. Okay, so okay, perfect.
I just want to share a little thing about Val. If you do not know, she was, during Prohibition, this woman did 2 years in federal prison for us at 53 years old. They weighed the soil they charged her with 400 pounds of weed in Ruidoso, New Mexico. And she did 2 years in prison for us and for this.
Yes. So no, thank you, Val.
Thank you, Val. Okay, and so here is a list of the pros and cons that were listed in the Las Cruces meeting. And so this is what your points will look like, and then eventually they'll be collected into a document. So, Rose, we're going to start on this side. Anyone that would like to go, you don't have to speak. You don't have to speak. You don't want to, but it would be great if you did. Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Do we have a microphone? We don't have a
We
microphone.
Just
don't.
gonna have to project.
Okay. So please don't be shy. Stand up and give your pros about the bill that you feel is happening for you. If anything is pro. About what's happening with the legalization bill, the Senate Bill 2, the CRA, all of that. Oh, we have a shy crowd. I'll wait for the cons.
Okay, who wants to start?
Come on, Josh.
Yes, you let me down.
You got it. I was waiting for Tracy to get her pen.
Good save, good save,
Good job.
Okay, so this is gonna be pros list. All right.
Before my first time attending, I'm totally don't even know what you guys are doing. So can you kind of let me know what it is you're doing a pro list of?
Sure.
Yeah, like what the bill is, like what is it introduced as, or what is it that they're trying to?
Yeah, Chuck.
Chad, you want to jump
Oh,
in?
sorry, I'm live streaming too. So, yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah, I'll let her answer.
So we're doing a format of a town hall meeting based on Drug Policy Alliance. So we want to know the pros and cons of the current laws. What is working for you? What is not working for you? So we're going to do the format as, okay, we're going to hear everyone's pros. What's wonderful about the law right now? What's New Mexico doing right? And then we're going to go through and we're going to ask, what is New Mexico doing wrong? Because we want to be your voices, and we want you to use your voices in informing these laws. We have a 30-day legislation in January, and we want to communicate those laws for you. And that's why we're gathering this data. So is that clear for everyone?
So think in your mind, what's working, what do you like? What do you really want to see stay? Kind of highlight that. And then on the next one, what's not working, what can be added, what can be changed, what can we, hybrid together to make it work better. So, keep that in mind as we go, kind of think of a few things, maybe think of the top 3 on the top of your head, and then go from there.
And these are the pros and cons that we came up with at the last town hall that we had in Las Cruces. We will be also having one in Albuquerque. So we're kind of like trying to listen to what the state wants so that we could transpose that message to government.
Okay, and so then to warm us up, so some of the pros from Cruces were that they believe the industry creates jobs. And so I believe that's something we can agree with. Another one is that there's a lot of support coming from government and chambers and things like that are open to hearing us and our opinions about cannabis. So that's a good warm up. Is anyone else feeling inspired to add on to that list? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll add my name's Matt. We actually got from Socorro in Albuquerque.
Oh,
My pro is actually a con as well. The ease of getting a license in Mexico. Definitely a pro. It's been very easy. I was in a consulting business for a while where we licensed almost a quarter of the entire state, so it's that easy to get licensed. But it's also a con because we have a lot of people that have received licenses and probably shouldn't have, and they're not doing well in compliance pieces. But pro and con.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like the pros, especially like in our area, like the city of Las Cruces and CCD, like actually tried to hear us out. So when we do apply for licensing, zoning, and what have you, they're actually trying to get involved and listen to us as to what's going to help us actually create this business. And it sucks that a couple of people slid through the cracks, but hopefully that will be taken care of in due time through their own faults. But that's one of the pros that I notice is the help and concern that we get, like from the fire chief and everyone else from our experience through our city council. I can't say about other experiences, but at least in our issues, they wanted us to build and succeed.
Mm-hmm. So an open city council,
Right.
open local legislation. Good.
We had to get a little more detailed with our notes.
Local jurisdictions being applicable for cannabis. I know Sunland Park loves having you guys here, us here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good. Yes?
Go ahead.
My name's Adrian. I'm not per se in the industry, but I am a cannabis influencer and content creator, going by #Billy. I'm from Texas, but I would definitely say from just legalization here, and obviously this being so close to Texas, that I would definitely say because El Paso in general is just, where we come and go as we please, that the accessibility in a sense, or just like the education as far as cannabis in general has really overflowed into El Paso. And I mean, I would say even from my family, coming from a very conservative family, where even getting the tattoo is a no-no. I would say it's definitely caused a lot of education, a lot more influencing, especially into El Paso, that this is going to hopefully one day move into Texas and to even other states as well. So I would say that's a definite plus, especially New Mexico being a sister state to Texas for sure.
Thank you. Repping the Texans. Okay, anyone on this side?
Pros, what do you guys like? The legislators like hearing that too, because it means they did a good job.
Yeah. Obviously, one of the pros is, bringing in tax revenue to, these cities and being able to develop, bringing more commercial real estate, bringing in more funding for the cities to, help out the people of these cities. I think that's a huge pro, that always is surrounding cannabis in every market I've been in.
Awesome.
Good.
Anybody in the
Economic
back?
opportunities.
In the back anywhere?
I have to say, you touched on it a little bit, but the micro licensing idea here is wonderful because looking back at 2012, when Colorado went legal, trying to get into that market was almost impossible. New Mexico has made it a lot easier, and it's not necessarily easy in the fact that we don't want bad people in this, but the fact that it's easy for a small business to come in. You don't have to be that big, large scale, and that makes it
Yes, giving opportunities to small companies and local. It's really awesome how much they stick to local too.
And
That's
that
great.
is one of the laws that's one of the proposed laws, right, that we heard last Monday. They're trying to increase the micro business license.
Yeah, the plant
Right?
count. Yes, the plant count is one of the priorities that we should have as an industry, and it was almost this last legislative session, but it didn't pass. We're trying to get more plants for the micro producers. However, they're doing it on a percentage of how much the big producers get. Right now, they get 20,000. I have a feeling that 20,000 is going to be permanent, and it's probably not going to be there very long. So if we do a percentage, that'll drop theirs down. So we may need to not do the percentage and just go with a straight number, 2,000 plants maybe for a micro. I kind of feel that's a good little cushion number because I have a feeling it's going to probably go from 10,000 or 20,000 to 10, maybe even lower than that, or maybe a little higher. I have no clue. We'll see what the legislative says this session. But right now it's at 20,000, and we do need more for the micros because 200 doesn't do anything for most people. It's hard. So put that caveat in there.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, these pros don't have to be limited to just retail wise. We can talk about things that are concerning cultivation and such as that. Yes, sir?
I'll list another licensing pro, but how many people here are familiar with how our liquor licenses used to work? We used to have a situation where the state created basically a property right with liquor licenses. They were going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We actually did something right with the legislation that we're living under now, in where you cannot actually sell a cannabis license. So we're all able to get the licenses for the fees that they were intended to be received under, not through brokers who are selling it for huge profits.
Monopolization of licensing.
Yeah, for sure. And this includes, ancillary businesses too, photography, people who do other things in the industry, not just the ones you need a license for. So if you guys have anything on the top of your head that you'd like what's going on, I'll let us know. I have a feeling the pros list is going to be a lot shorter than the cons list. So yeah, let's keep going and try to milk this as much as possible for everyone. Yes?
The job creation, we've traveled around the whole state, and it's really cool to see all these little towns come to life because of all the jobs and it's not just dispensaries or growing, like you're saying, there's, people in photography or marketing or just there's a ton of different new businesses that people can make out of this that, doesn't have to be growing stuff. So
There's opportunity for everybody here. Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of room for trailblazers.
Yeah. Definitely. Anyone else in the back, center? Go ahead.
I like the fact that I was able to work with them the last few months, hand in hand on the event that I just had. I told them my goals and what I wanted as a consumption event type, and they were able to help me figure out through laws how to actually do it to where it would be legal, I guess, to have a consumption event. So I think I want to say the pros are they're very willing to go above and beyond in certain aspects to where they can help us figure out what it is that we to accomplish our goal if it's legal in the state of New Mexico, type the eyes of the state, which I think really helped me because now it's just going to allow us to bring more and more people together and show them the stigma is not, what they think it is or what they were taught, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and how they, presume we are, So I think that's really awesome that they were, going above and beyond that. So.
Yeah, New Mexico definitely is a trailblazer state. I think they've shown that throughout history in being, was it the first or second state in being medical?
First.
First?
Yeah.
There's a big example there.
In 76.
Yes, 76, 78.
It was government funded, and it was for the University of New Mexico cancer patients. So they were given cannabis at that time. Now, we're not talking smoking, we're talking oil. And it was funded by New Mexico till 1984, and it ran out of funding and administrations changed and that sort of thing. But we were definitely the first in the country.
So cool.
We just get forgotten about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that I like is it seems that a lot of the people that were from the culture before the industry took off have not had an opportunity to either be employed or be a part of the industry. And I find that to be a great thing because in other states, there had to be some kind of either certification or you had to get some kind of a badge to work in the industry, which is great because that comes with education. And then I believe that's the one thing that we are lacking is a little more education to either new bud tenders or people working behind the scenes in the industry so that we can produce better medicine, a better product for the public. And so that when somebody gets asked a question, they have a proper or right answer to give back. But the fact that they've allowed a lot of the people from the surrounding areas to be bud tenders, to work in the groves, to work as trimmers, I think that's amazing. We just do need to find a way to be able to educate some of these people, all of us included. I mean, we all need the education.
I'd like to say one thing. Did I say 96? It was 76.
No, you said 76.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just wanted to be
It's
sure.
okay. You got
I
it.
get my years mixed up.
I have something to piggyback off of what he said. So I'm from Colorado, where you have to be FBI fingerprinted and background checked to even be able to work in the industry. So I do think that it is kind of a plus. There's a plus side, you know, there's people who they don't have experience who would be great in the industry and they're able to get their foot in the door, but I do think it does kind of cause problems for micro grows, for certain businesses, because not everybody has the proper experience that they need to come into the industry. So I think more education, maybe a better type of background process, as far as who you're employing, that type of thing, I think that should be more instilled here in New Mexico.
Absolutely.
Keep some of that for the cons, because some of that was.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's a good segue
That's
into
great.
the cons.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. If you want to segue in.
Yeah, do you guys have any more pros you would like to list?
I think one pro, just coming from Texas, and being part of Dope Moms, we had like a support group. Now with the legalization, because it started off with some medical having that, and it was a support group of mothers to come out of their green closet, so to say. Now it's been actually just kind of, wow, we didn't realize how much the community needs this, like needs a support group. But then we figured out, well, what is it that we need? Well, we need to educate them. We need to let all these mothers know that it's okay. It's okay that you're doing this. It's okay that it's medicine. And we have to kind of change things and start being part of it. So I think with everything that New Mexico's been doing, it's given a lot of other groups an opportunity to be able to medicate safely and learn about it. But also, like I said, really come out of that green closet, because we were closeted for so long. I have been medicating. I've been a mom since my oldest is 18. I've been medicating this whole time. But now, and I've been a professional. I was a teacher, I was a counselor. It was very hard to be able to, like, some people, like I worked with the cannabis nurse, Shay. She and I worked together, didn't even know we smoked. Both of us had to act like we knew nothing. Once it came legal, I was like, oh my God, this whole time. And that's helped. That's helped us a lot to be able to normalize it, to, like we said, break the stigma. But yes, education matters big time with everything. But that's what I feel like New Mexico has helped. Being just, not just from Texas, but El Paso. We're this little blue bubble, but we're still Texas. And it has helped tremendously. Our group alone has grown so much just within the legalization, right? Yeah, I mean, I know you guys had started it before, because that's when I started following them. And this was like, we were doing the marches in Texas, going in there. And now we're like, wow, we really need to start branching. We have Sunland, but we have to start branching out even further and further, because New Mexico needs us. Like, we really do need a space for mothers. So I think that has been such a big pro, to be able to give us that floor to come out and be around and be part of it. And then, of course, make money with it, because it's so green. It really is. This is such a market that we can all come together and do things and make money and make dreams come true. Like, there was so many things. I mean, I'm going for my degree for this, and now I'm like, you know what? I really, really want to follow my dream, and it's cannabis. And now I can. I can follow my dream in cannabis. I can make a difference, and I can make money, and I can actually help my family move to the next level instead of, okay, well, we're just going to be a teacher forever. It's very nice, make no money, and I'll be happy. Well, it's not that easy. It really isn't. And I've seen so many opportunities. So yeah, most definitely, I just had to speak for moms, and the Dope Mom part of that. It really did help. It helped us a lot, and it still is. So that's a huge pro.
That is a great pro, and it's something that's been spoken about too. New Mexico has been very proactive in that education. I've been to markets where they are giving away lock boxes for parents that consume, so they're just protecting their medicine like they protect pills and things like that, as opposed to hiding it. There's being conversations about how to approach your kids about this topic.
Teaching, like, my children know those different signs and they know what they are. Like, that's very important to be able to. I mean, we're teaching kids about the shapes. Well, we know that triangle or that's diamond. We don't touch that one in the refrigerator. That those letters, THC, that's mommy's. And those are the kind of things that we do to, like the same way if you have a beer in the refrigerator, it should be that simple. And especially because mine's medicinal. Like literally, we have no alcohol in my house. And I have a whole bar, and it's a bong bar. There's no alcohol in my bar, there's bongs. And my kids think that that's normal because it is. And I think more and more of us being able to do that, it's really gonna help. So when New Mexico did this, I mean, I was already in medical, but when we did the recreational, it helped. It really did. And then I know just in our group alone, a lot of moms are still kind of scared. Like, oh, but the more and more we come out, it's easier. It's easier to just break that stigma. So that's been super helpful, yeah.
That's great. That's great.
That was a good call.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, a pro is that our school districts seem to be on it as far as like knowing that it's not coming from dispensaries. They seem to be pretty honest about knowing like it's probably coming from the black market. You know, there's a lot of.
Like you said, they are realizing this is black market. You know, this is not, dispensaries aren't selling to kids. We're not doing that. But educating them as well and them being open to us. And I'm speaking like Texas-wise as well. Texas has been very open to speaking around these things. And, well, Paso. And I think that's, but yeah, I've seen that, and at least on my side, I've seen that, like, my school, my kids' school, they go to Da Vinci, and they talk about it, they talk about things, and they explain to them, and they say, you know, like, I'm gonna be working at a dispensary, and my kids are not gonna be like, oh, no, they can say, yeah, mom works at a dispensary, and it's okay, and she's a professional. And I think that's been, like, being able to be part of the community, being a professional, and not just being like this little stoner. Like we're totally, I'm definitely a stoner, most definitely.
Definitely
but,
part of regulating it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Regulating it, killing the stigma, and being proactive about that. Yes,
That's
community. Teaching the community.
We are, I mean, look at us right here, we're like industry community, right?
Most definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah, change that culture. You're right. Yeah.
That's a great point. Thank you.
I would like to say too, in El Paso, when I do speak to somebody about cannabis, it still can be a little, and I go, oh, please. And they go, well, you know, because it's like legalized in New Mexico, and I go, and thank you. And they'll say, but my daughter's been caught with like a vaporizer, and I go, perfect chance for you to have a chance to talk with her, to have a chance to educate her. And it's like, what? Educate her? Like how? Like I thought I would just slap her down and lock her in the bedroom. No, it's like the education needs to continue on. So I feel like I continue it on in El Paso constantly.
I kind of want to add on to that too, because that kind of, there's a law in Texas, I think a lot of you know that, if a parent or guardian of a child takes said child to the bar, I think morally we all know what age, but if they go into a bar, that parent or guardian is legally allowed to buy him a drink and slide it over to the kid to drink. And my parents did that with me. Like when it started at 16, wish it was at 10, I'm just kidding. But it started at 16, but I would say by the time that I was in high school, and you know, people are doing kickbacks, people are having parties. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
like it's boring, and you know, hangovers are fun. You know, and so I think, especially how you said that kind of leads onto that that education. You got caught with it. Let's have that conversation.
Have that conversation, you know.
And El Paso, I think El Paso, because we're surrounded by New Mexico as well, we're a very, very good organic city to be like a leading example for the rest of Texas.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
And I think, at least for me, I'm not as, you know, concerned about going around with it. And it's just keeping on that education, showing the correct example, having these town hall meetings talking about what's going on in the industry to be the next example of how it can be successfully done with as less hiccups as possible.
And these are great steps. Being in Sunland, a lot of us being from El Paso, I'm sure we all want to see that change. And we know it's not just going to be like from one day to the next legal, we have to work small steps towards it, like solidifying the site and release program. Yeah, having steps to it, like solidifying the site and release program, making sure that officers are actually following a protocol and it's not just up to their discretion.
Yeah.
And there's many bills that we can look into, and we can contact those the policymakers of that and go to the Capitol. And we don't have to limit ourselves to just New Mexico, although it's amazing that we have this opportunity to have the experience to go into the state we're from and say, listen, this is what's working here. Well, let's not try this steps to try to get there. And I think this progression is great. And the fact that a lot of us are from El Paso is just so awesome. The fact that Sunland is one of the top cities, or one of the, not even a city, it's a town. Yeah, and a lot of that is Texas. So let's continue that work into Texas.
And the beauty of it, I think, is that we're all learning together, right? It's going to be constant learning throughout the whole thing. And eventually Texas will get there. Sooner than later, they'll get there. And what better for us to pave the way? You know, they need people like us in that industry, because they're going to go in there not knowing where to start. And look at us, we're already with our feet wet, you know.
It's still in it, and there's still changes that we're trying to go for. So we know that this is not going to be a short journey, and once it gets there, it's not the end. But thank you guys for coming here, and thank you for talking about the pros. If there's anybody else that would like to talk, name a pro? Go ahead.
Go, sis.
I think the biggest pro is just, I'm super grateful for meeting people that are like-minded like me. Like how you're speaking about the moms coming out of the green closet, like, I love the community that you guys all are building. We're all building with each other, and I'm super grateful for the knowledge that every single one of you guys share. Like, even though we're trying to teach people, we come to these and you guys just teach us, and I'm super grateful for that. And that's like one of the biggest problems for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. I must just interject here. I can never ever talk about voting enough. Everybody being a registered voter and voting for the agenda that you're for, not a person who is against you. Just because one is red or blue, if they're speaking out against cannabis, you don't want to vote for them no matter what color they are. So it's a big, huge agenda that you're voting for. So you must keep that in mind. We have been struck dumb a few times in New Mexico over that particular thing. And we're going to have a governor's race coming up soon ourselves. So vote, everybody must vote.
Vote. And now I will pass the metaphorical mic to Tracy.
Tracy's. There you go.
Let's go, Tracy.
Yeah. Cool. So now we're going to go over some cons. This was actually fairly easy compared to the last one, because the last one everybody was like, cons right away, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Does anybody want to go ahead and start off con-wise? It was a race. Okay, Adrian, go ahead.
I've been looking at this list the whole time. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm not, but I would say from my standpoint, I'm not seeing a regulation on childhood caps. It's there. It's there.
Yes.
It's there.
But yeah.
But go ahead and add it. That's
I mean,
fine. Even if it's up there. Right. And just so, if there's stuff already on there, that's fine. If you guys repeat it, that's fine. It's a consensus here.
And
at
it's
this
an
point.
affirmation of like, people really think this is it. We went to Cruces, we went to Sunland, we went to Albuquerque, and people are saying the same thing. So if you guys see it, don't be scared to say it.
So to go back on the subject, because if it's not being held accountable altogether, and it's seen in El Paso, and they see the NMTH on there, they're going to be like, well, they're not being regulated, so why should we let it in? So that it's holding the state accountable to lead by example for states to say, hey, we can do this. It's just leading by example.
Definitely. Give her a moment to write that down.
Okay, got it. Yes.
I think
sorry.
the biggest issue, coming from another state and seeing how they ran things and did things for 5 years, I think the biggest thing New Mexico lacks is like a good tracking system. Along the lines of what they're saying with packaging rules and regulations, I think is pretty weak. I know that they're really, the one thing I love about working in New Mexico is that they do seem willing to listen, and take advice from the communities and from the dispensaries and growers. But it doesn't seem like there's ever action taken. They ask us all, but I mean, the tracking system here is pretty poor compared to what I'm used to. You can delete packages, make things show up, change things, do whatever you want. And I feel like that's a huge issue for people who are trying to be,
Legit.
compliant and
Yeah.
do things the right way and make sure they're making sure all their cannabis sales are going to people over 21 and that they are, packaged properly and that the ingredients in them are exactly what they say. Running dark matter, I've just noticed over time that the inventory tracking system is probably the worst thing New Mexico's cannabis industry has. BioTrack is a really outdated system.
Right.
It's, for us, it's very frustrating, and I'm
Definitely.
sure it is for everybody else. And then we have producers and growers and processors that don't even know how to use BioTrack. So, they're not compliant going around and trying to show their products. And it's like, you're going to get them in trouble, or you're going to say they're doing it wrong, but you've never enforced training or taught people how to do this. I think that's a huge issue. And I think it's going to keep snowballing unless they really look at our tracking system. I think that's the most important thing, is being able to figure out who's not doing it right, where are the problems coming from. And it's going to look like it's coming from all of us unless they have a good system.
That's a good
So,
point.
an
Yeah.
improved
That's a very
tracking
good
system.
point, yes.
I agree with that one because
I totally.
I've seen
Definitely.
it firsthand for the most part, people just manipulating the shit out of it. And then some people telling them, well, if you can do it in BioTrack, well, it means you can do it, it's legal, right? And so that's not right.
Yeah, that doesn't work like that, guys. Hold on.
And we turn away a lot of really good producers and processors when they want to show us their product because we're like, hey, we're not taking that. And then they seem frustrated that they don't really know how to do it. So I think that it would just help the industry out.
So a better tracking system and also better training on their end, I think would.
Better training on the tracking system.
Yeah, yeah. Give me just a second. He had his hand up a while back. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
There's just a million things, right? Like you said.
All right.
It's all good. We're here for all of them.
That's pretty much what's going to get bombarded, and I get that. And we don't focus too much on the pros, but now that we're on the cons, I think that a big part of this is that, and I hate to get quoted on this, but I feel like the state treated the licensing kind of like a cash cow. They went ahead and offered and issued licenses to people that they knew were not gonna either know how to go about handling the business or sticking around with whether it was compliance or regulation or even the facilities or anything that they were requesting. So they gave us all these licenses, and then a lot of us are falling off the map. We're blessed to have somebody coaching us along the way, so they're helping us to not sink yet, hopefully
Right.
never, but not everybody has that help. Not everybody has somebody telling them, hey, this is how you really run a business. This is what a standing operating procedure really means versus just throwing the word SOPs around.
Right,
People
right.
heard SOPs and they're like, okay, well, what really is an SOP? Well, this is what an SOP is, right? So then on top of that, they gave us all licenses, and then I am very grateful that I feel like we fell under those that were negatively impacted by cannabis. I am a felon for cannabis in the state of Texas. I took out away with my weed in a jar, and that threw me into the felony weight. It was a couple of grams, maybe half an ounce, but it threw me into 5 ounces. The state still gave me a license. I'm extremely blessed for that. But if I didn't have any coaching, I would have already been out of the industry a long time ago. So I feel like the state moves really slow in assisting people like myself or my wife, small companies that really don't know how to go about it, and they really don't care whether we sink or drown, right? So it's left to the community to kind of help each other to really build up. And the state's not really doing nothing to help fund the small companies or the people that are trying to get some kind of small operation going on. They're like, oh, well, we gave you a license. You guys should have done all the research, right?
Right.
Well, it's been really difficult, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people here.
I will say the state does do the Invest in New Mexico web seminars sometimes. Like there was this one just this past week, and I actually learned a lot from it. So they are doing certain things, but I do feel they'd be a little more proactive in doing it more frequently. And adding more material, because they did have people from Albuquerque, Las Cruces, different environmental departments and stuff like that to come and talk. And it was really just to help the business owners. I try to share it as much as possible. I try to get as many people to sign up as possible, but sometimes that information doesn't go all the way through. But just keep an eye out. If you follow the RLD page or you get their emails, they will send you an email when they do these. And I will also try to keep everybody updated on that too. But these are actually really good workshops. So if they ever pop up again, by all means, please do it. Because even Ashley learned a lot. She told me, she learned a lot from that. And I've been in the industry for 10 years, and even I learned a lot. So, we all have something to learn. There's one thing that I learned from interrogator school, it was the best advice I ever got, is you learn everything about this job the day you die. And I kind of believe that with cannabis too. We'll learn everything about it the day we die, because we're still learning stuff about it. So that's all right.
Thank you, Val.
Anyway, that was my piece. I'll let you guys keep talking.
I would like to say something here, that I don't know that everybody that has not worked in policy in the state totally understands that in passing a bill, it takes so long to pass a bill. And you have to go through so many changes, and you try to keep together the best points of it. And this takes years of this. And then once the bill is passed, it gets handed off to an administration that has no preparation for it. Tax and Rev, we created the CCD after the fact. It wasn't like it was all. So it's like we're just now coming up, on 2 years? On 2 years for industry, for our industry, for the state. These are things that really take a good amount of time, and people really need to understand that it's really like taking a bill that got passed, that took years to pass it, and then we just drop it onto a institution and say, okay, now you do your rules and regs. And you're going, okay. And then we created a whole other institution, the CCD. So a lot of this is learning for not only for the state, for the institutions themselves, it's for all of us learning at the same time. That's why it's so important that we continue to have a voice in all of this, so that we can make sure representatives know, so we can make sure the institutions know what we're going through with how they've handled what they got dumped with. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that sometimes people don't quite understand that that's what happens when a bill gets passed.
And I just want to chime in too. That's why it's so important for everyone to speak up, especially all your business owners, because they have these webinars like the year going into recreational, and then they stopped having them. A bunch of us showed up at a hearing where it was the senators and the representatives with CCD, and pretty much a few people in the industry spoke and said, we need more education. And then a couple months later, this webinar pops up. So that's why it's so important for us, for you guys, to show up to these hearings and show and have a voice, so that they want to hear you.
Yes, because they're struggling as much as we're struggling. It's like they didn't really just dump this on us. It's like they're struggling too, and we're struggling, and we want it to be successful.
And that's why we have these gatherings, so that you guys have that outlet to be able to speak your voice. Tell us, the platform, to let us know what's working, what's not working, what can they do better. Like, let us know so that we go fully prepared, fully armored and ready to go to make change happen. Yes, sir.
Echoing all of these comments, so this will be my 22nd legislative session. I've worked in some capacity or another with the legislature. They do listen. As a staffer, we would get constituents coming into the office all the time. After a while it gets to be a lot, but when enough people come in, you have to listen and think, maybe we can need to change something here. Same thing on the executive side. I've worked in 3 different state agencies and governor's office, and we listened every time either petitions were brought to us or people came to lobby us as citizens. So definitely go and make your voices heard. And I, as as many issues as we've run into with CCD, I do think they've done a pretty okay job up to this point. There's a lot of stuff that they can fix, but echoing what Valerie said, like it's something brand new and it's really hard to stand this stuff up. That being said, one of my cons, and I know this isn't necessarily too popular of an opinion, but is lack of compliance enforcement. That just the state just enforcing compliance alone will help root out bad operators and bad actors. We're not in the cannabis business. We're actually all in the compliance business that just happens to be selling cannabis or growing it, manufacturing it. That's one thing that I think everybody needs to keep in mind. Compliance is almost always number one. That's what keeps you in business.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Were you able to get that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
I'll look into that as well as what Brad was saying. Thank you for sharing that, guys. Will with First Truck New Mexico, based out of Albuquerque, I believe, Base House and shared kitchen facility. Some of you might know this is there. We actually just had our inspection on Friday, and I want to commend the two inspectors that gave us our inspection, Autumn and Justin. They're extremely amenable. Autumn is out of the industry out of Oregon with Nectar up there. Justin was extremely helpful, inquisitive, yet not brash. They were really nice to work with, so I want to commend them and kind of the work they're doing in field with operators who they have to vet. It's their responsibility. It's super important. We really enjoyed the process. I think we made great bonds with them. I would love to work in a capacity to support them with their work, and I don't know exactly how we're interfacing there on an active basis. Specifically, in a specific case with BioTrack, as Brad was mentioning, as a manufacturer of edibles, it was astonishing to us when we took our first lab sample to the lab. The Rio Grande Analytics told us that we did not need to test our products. There was no reason to test, not even potency.
Wow.
That's interesting.
It's really interesting. We come from a national scope of CBD products. That's what we've been doing for a long time. They said, yes, you don't need to test these. We read through legislation. They said, that's right. So we've always tested everything, micro, heavy metals, the gamut, terpene, potency, the whole thing. We want to know what's in our products.
Definitely.
I'm a huge tester advocate.
Yeah,
for
for sure.
Pushing it for years, yes.
I think one of the most important things about that progress, and I'm wondering what the testing requirements on the con side is, maybe you can actually break that out from the
Right.
to finish, but as far as the industry growing in any state, no matter what the legislation, we have to build trust and confidence and consistency of the products with the consumers. That's ultimately what the rubber hits the road, right? They're the most important people, especially on the medical side.
Definitely.
So the fact that this wasn't happening was really, really interesting to us. And I'm looking forward to, we're actually in conversations with CCD and Rio Grande Labs to give them our SOP that hopefully will be used or extrapolated from to make sure that the legislation requires hopefully more than just potency, heavy metal. And
Heavy metal, all of it. Yeah.
But we were super surprised, so it needs to happen as we try to bring these newcomers into the space. Again, they need those three things: the consistency, the effectiveness, and the safety. Safety being number one, and that ties back to the kids that we were talking about earlier. It's just paramount importance. So streamlining the CCD in some of these places that are being missed just because of legislation or a poor software system is incredibly essential.
Awesome. So piggyback off that, I mean, us as adults can get sick using cannabis if it's
Definitely.
So can we put on cons better testing?
Yes.
Testing?
Better testing.
Better testing.
Or
Integrity.
they don't have integrity with the medicine, like,
Yep.
no more integrity, they're selling moldy.
To a state that has a stigma against cannabis, and the last thing we need is adults getting sick using cannabis for them to say, oh, look, it does make you sick. It's not as good as you're saying. So this was something that I know that up in Oregon, we pressed really, really hard with the OLCC up there to make sure that heavy metals got put in, mold got put in, all these things. And there was a lot of mad people, but that's just telling you those people weren't doing it right. So I think, like Will said, it's going to take a lot of really good companies that want to, advocate for cannabis and do things the right way, to show them how to do this, and, asking from advice from all these people that are trying to do it right. A little pro is that I feel like the CCB and the legislation here is more willing to work. They don't seem as corrupt as Oregon was. So it is nice to see that, but I definitely think that, there's a long ways to go. But I do agree with what he was saying, is they've done a pretty good job. I mean, you look at all the other states and it's kind of a shit show, you know? So I do think that, being a pro is that they are trying.
Right.
At least it seems like from my point of view.
Definitely, and of course, we do focus on the patient, right? All use is medical use. In my eyes, I feel like everybody agrees with that, and it's important to know what we're consuming. We can't be consuming stuff that's not good for us. And, I've unfortunately have had friends that have gotten their hands on moldy weed and have gotten really sick from it. So I do agree with what you guys are saying as far as testing. It's crucial that they enforce that with everybody.
I think we should put testing.
Testing, underline, bold, got that.
Labs accountable. That was a big
That too.
problem in Oregon, is fake test results. I've seen them down here where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I think that is a big part of it.
I think it would help with saturation too.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about saturation and putting a moratorium on licenses. I'm like, test better, do walkthroughs, like don't have licenses.
Yeah, let the agencies
Right.
their process, right? It's gonna just take some people off the table.
Right, totally.
It's literally,
And we all
level
want to smoke good weed. We want
Exactly.
good things for
Definitely.
our bodies.
Yes.
Clean weed.
Yeah.
Good, clean weed, yeah. Did anybody else want to add for the cons? Yes.
I'll stay on the testing thing. This is not a current con, but coming up, I think sometime within the next year, they're going to implement homogeneity testing for growers. So you're going to go from either 3.5 gram or 5 gram sample for your testing to having to submit 9.5, 10 grams per testing sample per 15 pounds. So that's, for growers like us, that's going to be an extra added expense. So I get it. They want that homogeneity, and they want their testing to come out right, but I don't know, the way they're going about it is right.
Well,
What do you
I
guys
think
think about
for-
standardization of testing? Equipment wise. Certain labs have different equipment, so you may get different results from different labs. I mean, what do you guys think about standardization on that front?
Absolutely.
That's gotta be. It has to be a must, because you gotta know what you're gonna give any consumer. I would feel bad how we brought up the mold situation, even if our product got someone sick, we'd like to have some type of accountability. So we understand the different testing methods, the different labs, but you brought up corruption. Some labs that favor percentages, which is not good either.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's my 2 cents in that, and I feel honestly I agree with the testing. So underline it 3 times with the next one.
This whole list is going to be all.
Go ahead.
That's got to be a given, because I mean, as it is with when we're being pulled over for doing 75 and a 60, those guns have to be calibrated and certified.
Right.
Yeah.
So why can't things that are being ingested by humans,
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Well, I want to say about testing, because I fought for it for so long through the Department of Health, through an 8-year administration, and we're still lacking in it as we've moved on to legalization, is that I had such pushback from what we jokingly, but not really jokingly, call the dirty 30. But it was like the first 7 medical, and then the first 12 medical, they were not gonna, the lab said, I can't afford to buy like the equipment that it's needed for. I can't afford. And it's like, yes, you can. You can. Just cut out the Ferrari, man, and you can afford it. Trust me, I see you. But point is now, because we're still dealing with testing, we still do not have a heavy metal testing. I'm still suspect of even mold and pesticide, because it took so long to get pesticide even in. They fought that for so long because they were misusing pesticide. Is that I think it's important for us to think about bringing up a state lab and having a state lab
So that-
implemented.
yeah.
So that will cut out the private interest. I mean, if people still want to privately test, great. But everybody should be able to use the state lab, and the state should be able to afford to use our money to afford us a state lab. So that's where I'm thinking of moving towards as we move into legislation.
And Chad, maybe that's something we talk about too, because that has been talked about. Do we talk to government about possibly funding a lab?
Because Department of Ag already handles the hemp side. They send their inspectors over to take the sample, and then they put it in an evidence bag and seal it up and send it to the facility. Huh?
Cut out the Ferrari.
Is that something you would like to see as a group? Possibly some kind of supplemental lab from the state? Is that all of you?
Because it'll also help the state. It'll still hold the state even more accountable.
Yes.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Can't pay anybody for fake results anymore.
Yeah.
There you go, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And luckily, we're not that corrupt.
I was gonna say, that could be a con, going in, is whoever's gonna pay the state the most, maybe gets better test results. I saw it in Oregon a lot with labs. So, we have to be careful when doing a mandated lab that we know that it is legit and that they are doing things correctly in the right way.
Absolutely.
So then at that point, make it a whole state thing with no other
Private lab.
Private labs.
And that may be the way that it will be the proper way to go, it just because we
That's the
can't.
safest.
The safest, exactly. And that's all I'm looking for, is the safest way to supply clean cannabis to patients and for people for general well-being. That is my goal, yes.
Yes. And you had something?
Yeah, definitely necessary to create that standard across the board. We're not recreating the wheel in a lot of these situations, right?
Right.
To other industries, what they've already done 20, 30, 50 years ago to standardize some of these things. And as we grow up, we'll be doing that more, especially if we're heading toward the Fed reschedule and whatever they decide to do. There's going to be a whole lot of hoops to jump through that come with that. We need to be prepared in the next 3 to 5, however long it takes them, so that when they pull that trigger, we're clear and we've already initiated those SOPs, those standards that are going to be standard across the industry. Let's get there early.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just don't want to hold my breath on the feds, but because I've worked on the federal level for 10 years in Congress, and definitely I feel like sometimes we were really close, and then I just push back. So we just have to continue, and there again, I say vote for people who have your interest, my interest at heart. And we're talking about cannabis interest, basically. So that's where I go with that.
Nicole, how's your hand?
Good.
Okay.
Just gotta check in. Did anyone else want to chime in? Yes. Back
I'm
there.
just on a different subject, but I go to retail shops, and it's very difficult for parents to come in there because their children are not allowed in the store. And so sometimes I'll send a staff out there to be able to go and watch the kid from the car, but they're allowed into pharmacies, they're allowed into liquor stores, so why are they not being allowed into the cannabis store?
Well, go ahead.
That, and then also, things like, for example, Matt grew up helping his grandpa farm, in Iowa. And so if we have a kid, why can't we have him out there on the farm, handing it down generation to generation? The next generation isn't going to be able to start doing hands until they're 21. I think that's kind of ridiculous. And another thing too is about the education. Right now, there are a couple of programs where you can get a certification from C&M or something like that, but it's no hands-on. We got someone out at our farm that went through the whole certification at C&M but had never touched a plant. Like, come on. You know,
Yeah.
so there needs to be programs where
It's more hands-on.
students and the younger generation can actually touch the plants. So that way we can have the next generation, you know, go one step above what we've already created.
Right.
Make it better. You
Right.
can't do that now the way it is.
I just want to say we do choose our combat hand to hand as best we can. And whenever we were dealing with, through all of these years with MedCan and then legalization, is that it's so hard and pressing to deal with children. And so we make choices of letting them keep what they wanted to keep so that we could get through what we needed to get through. And I do agree with you. And at some point, I mean, my daughter could roll 500 joints in an hour when she was 5. It's just.
Can I employ her?
So, I mean, we all have that kind of issue. So I understand it really well with our children having been raised around cannabis and some for their whole lives. But definitely when you're dealing on a legislative level, you're dealing with incredible opposition at so many levels. So yeah, you just are trying to get through as best you can.
If we could just start with them having a hands-on program, you know.
Oh, I agree,
for 18
education,
years,
back
that would
to,
be
yeah,
great.
yeah, for adult education, yes.
I think that'd be something great to talk to New Mexico State about, actually. You know, since the
Definitely.
Department of Ag is down here, I mean, they'd be the perfect one to have some kind of program like that. Because they already have a cannabis thing, and I think expanding on that would be great.
Well, and we did go to C&M and offer, Matt did,
I was helping work out some curriculum for CNN, but just, they got a new program director and the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah.
I will bring up one more issue. This one's federal. I'm surprised it didn't come up tonight, but border patrol checkpoints. If you're a producer or manufacturer down south, you have a really difficult time moving your product up north because you run into that border patrol checkpoint, you're done. I actually had a client who had 5 drivers and $2.5 million worth of products seized. Because they were doing on the back road, border patrol took all the vehicles, which were private, took all the products, and threw the guys in jail for a couple of days. So that's a big federal issue that needs to be addressed.
Definitely.
And we're running into an issue where state police are seconding as federal drug agents, and I feel that's an issue in our state too, because that affects all of us in this room. You can get pulled over for something minute in the state, but if this cop feels like, you know, it's his day, he's going to say, too bad that weed's legal in the state, but I'm also a federal agent. You know, I feel that's kind of entrapment because you're under the assumption that you're okay in the state. This state officer pulls you over in a state car in a state uniform, and he's trying to enforce a state law, but then he changes his mind to enforce a federal law. That's unfair. And I kind of feel we need to push the law to change to where our law enforcement cannot work with federal agencies when it comes to cannabis, at least cannabis, starting out. I kind of feel all drugs, but you know, I don't know how well it's going to go. But I don't know how well that'll go. But cannabis, I do need to feel that needs to happen because this is an industry now. And if we have our own state law enforcement going against us, that's not good. You know, that doesn't give us trust in them. And then we also get put back into a state of prohibition where we're stuck in this mind like, wow, I don't feel safe driving with my cannabis anymore. You know, I don't feel safe, you know, being in a room where someone was smoking. I wasn't. I smell like cannabis, and I'm going to get hemmed up for it because this guy decides to be a federal agent whenever he wants. So I kind of feel that either they have to pick and choose. Either you be a federal agent or a state officer, or they're not allowed to work with the federal agencies whatsoever when it comes to cannabis. I don't know about you guys, but this is a problem I've seen for a very long time. And I kind of feel that now is the time that it needs to change.
One thing clear, man, when it comes to federal and state, I know a lot of people are under the impression that you have lock boxes. I don't know how true it is for federal agents to, I guess, not follow that rule. They don't have to follow lock boxes, right?
So federal, yeah, they don't have to follow any state regulations that they don't want. There was the Cole memo a long time ago, but that was more of a memo, you know, it was more of a suggestion. That's gone. But yeah, as of right now, they're kind of leaving it to the state police. So what I tell people is if you have over the state limit, they're probably going to mess with you. Yeah, under the state limit, they might not. Especially if it's like personal use, they're not gonna waste their time on, a couple of grams. And they leave it up to the state police. State police, I have a buddy who's a cop in Alamo, he'll call me and be like, dude, I gotta go to Border Patrol again, these assholes called me over a fucking joint. And so, it could be just venting about it. So it's a waste of our police officers' time as well. These guys are having to take time out of their day where they could be doing something more proactive, busting someone who's doing really bad crime, murder or something. And they have to go out to someone who was just trying to drive on a highway where they never left the country, for a joint. So yeah, this is something that it should be talked about more. So thank you for bringing this up. It kind of opens a Pandora's box on it, but it's something that affects all of us. And cruises, I can't go any direction, without hitting a border check. Being from Alamo Border, at least I had, one direction or two directions I can go without seeing one. But, down here, we're screwed. So what's up?
How do we take care of something like that?
So the federal checkpoints, like I said, the only thing that we can do is just bar the local police from working with the Border Patrol. So even if they call the police like, hey, we got this guy over here, and they say, fuck off, and just hang up. And, they just have to let the guy go. Because that's all they do anyway. They waste your time, they wait for the police to go, they do their investigation, and then they go. With federal regulations changing with descheduling, I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully that also means that we can go through the border, but it doesn't legalize cannabis, it just schedules it. You still have a punishment attached to it when it's like Schedule 3. That's why we all want descheduling. I'm sure everybody in this room wants descheduling. Schedule 3 just seems like prohibition with perks. Yeah, it's literally prohibition with perks. And so,
But
yeah.
mentioning it, it's always a good idea, to mention it if you're going to any kind of cannabis a hearing or anything like that, because there is talk about that the CCD needing more backup support and involving policing and stuff like that to do inspections, to do certain things because of saturation. So always speaking up about these things is, it's just what we keep saying all night long. Is just like, you have to, have a voice. You call. I've had my senator's number on my phone, and I'll call and leave messages. I think this, and there's secretaries there that'll take your area code and your name, and they have to tell them. But so voting and having a voice is so important in all of this. I feel like a broken record. I'm sorry, but.
But it's true.
It's true. I have them all, even Congress, on my phone, and New Mexico too. But the thing in New Mexico and in Congress, either one, is the staff must take a message. So your name, your recorded thing, and sometimes all you have to say is Senate Bill 12. The cannabis so-and-so, I'm opposed or I'm for. You don't have to give them a big long reason for anything. It's just like for or against, basically, and let them know what bill that is, and move on and keep calling.
I like to tell people it only takes 2 people for constituent to become constituents.
Exactly.
So they can say with only 2 people, my constituents don't like this. So keep that in mind. It can only take 2 people to change it.
I would say even our federal officials in New Mexico are extremely accessible.
Exactly.
One of the cool things about New Mexico politics is our elected officials come from us for the most part, and they're really easy to get a hold of. If you see a federal official, go to their events. They all have to have campaign stuff. They all have to do official events while they're out. Talk to them. I can't tell you how many times I've seen like Senator Heinrich up in Albuquerque. I'll just go inside real quick and say, hey, hope you support cannabis. Hope you back your industry. Or whoever. Like it's that simple. The advocacy can be just that simple.
So simple.
Just reminding them that they're part of this community that we voted them into.
Yep.
Right, and reminding us that we have a voice.
Yeah, that we have
as a cannabis community, as females, as Black and brown people, we have a voice and we need to stick up for ourselves.
Most definitely. Does anyone else have any more comments?
Just one more negative. They recently did a proposal on the clones situation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I didn't really care for the take on that. So That's one of the cons, the discretion and limitations.
Discretion
of
and
the
limitations.
Indoor growing vegetation. That's why I didn't understand nor like.
Feel like everyone's in agreement with that.
Yeah, more protection for growers. 'Cause
More
that's where it
protection for
starts.
growers. Yeah, dude, you gotta take the whole pad. I feel like the next marker we get is gonna be huge next time.
Oh, that's great.
Cool, so we're in agreement on that.
One thing I wanted to mention is CCD. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll go back to you. CCD mentioned that they don't have a lot of authority when it comes to shutting down some of these places. That's why it's taking so long for some of them. Because Sawmill Sweetleaf just got their letter of, they got 14 days to shut down just like last week. And it's been like months since, that. But, so last year it was proposed that the CCD has law enforcement officers essentially at the CCD. At the time, I wasn't a fan of it, but after seeing the shit show that we have in the state when it comes to compliance, I'm starting to feel that that might be a better idea. I would ask all of you how you feel about that, actually.
Actually, perfect. Kind of same way. I was interested in bringing up tonight the lag, and I know that the website's not through some refurbishing, just has over the last few months, and it's much better than it was. But in the action enforcement page, there's still a lag between current, contemplated, live, which is what I would love to see.
Yeah.
Because recently we've had some experiences with customers of ours not knowing that they were operating these poor players, and obviously it affects our relationship with them, it affects the industry-wide, really.
Yeah.
If we had a little bit more updated live feed on these contemplated action inspections and what was actually found, I think we as license holders, if we're doing our due diligence, can go in and check and watch and see what we're working with.
Yes.
I know on a daily basis, safety is great. I think it could help a lot to kind of eradicate some partnerships that can be really hurtful for us as good operators.
Yeah, because you can have your license on December 1st, but it expires December 2nd. Come December 2nd, you're no longer compliant. So that's a good point. Having up-to-date information like that could help you in the long run, because we're all here trying to keep our image in the industry. We're serving customers, and so that's something that we want to be a part of. We don't want to be a part of if someone's doing something wrong. Like just doing it blatantly too. That's the worst one. So no, I agree. The CCD does need to have a little more updating when it comes to those compliance things, because it's a huge tool for us. I don't think any other state has those, does it? I don't know. Yeah, me too. I think we're the only state that has those type of tools, which is so helpful. Yeah. Even where you want to go to visit sometimes, like, what's the sales? Oh, it looks like they got good sales. Let me go check them out. Yeah. So, yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Was that the one you wanted to bring up? Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Anyone else? Okay, so it looks like we're done with cons, guys. Yay! It took a little bit, but thank you guys so much for your input. Now this is like the moment where we still have testimonies, right? Yes. Does anybody have testimonies? Any prepared? Not everyone all at once.
Don't worry, last time we had one.
Yeah. And that's okay if you don't. Yeah, and it was very prepared.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, he was a paid lobbyist in the state, and he's registered, so I want to keep that as, to let you guys know. Some people like that, if they do come up, if I'm aware of it, I will let you guys know. At the time, I didn't know. So just to let you guys know now that was a registered lobbyist.
I also wanted to add, we're not here representing anyone but ourselves. We thank you, appreciate that. We do this because we all have that one common denominator, and that's cannabis. We all love cannabis. We want to, spread the love to everybody, but we want to be legit in the process of doing it, right? So I want to just thank everybody for coming out. It's people like you that help us do what we do. And I just can't help but get emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful thing to be a part of something. And, we didn't think that it was going to be as big as it was. And look at us. We're here and we're doing big things. And I'm glad you guys are along for the ride. So really, thank you. Applause to everybody that's here. Seriously, thank you. And if you guys are interested, we'll be in Albuquerque next. So we're having one in Albuquerque.
We'll
So
have it December 8th. If you guys are
Yes.
going to be up there for the High Times Cup, take advantage and go check us out too.
that's okay. Yeah. Tell your friends, tell people in the industry, we're trying our best putting it out there on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on
Stopping
all
by
that.
shops and dropping
We're
pictures off.
trying,
Yeah.
and it's all word of mouth too. So if you guys know people that, either have complaints or have pros to spread with people, whatever it may be, tell them to come be a part of it. Thank you guys. Thank you. And again, huge shout out to Val.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one thing in closing. This is also for us an advocacy training, hopefully for all of you, so that you are able to take away from this about how easy it is to contact. We have a short session coming up. It's only a 30-day session. It deals with budget only, so it's very hard to get a social justice bill in there. But that doesn't mean we won't be trying and looking for somebody to carry. Also with this, if we don't have somebody, we will reach a point where we can write our own bill through legislative services and take the data that we're gathering and look forward to making changes that are worthwhile into the CRA. So thank you very much.
Yay.
Feel free to stick around and do some networking and enjoy the sesh part, but it has to be in the parking lot.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yay.
See you guys.
Wait, we gotta get
Oh yeah, we gotta.
Corrina.
Oh yeah. Corrina. Oh. We gotta do the peace out show on the live.
Come on.
We gotta take pictures. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Great job. You did such a good job. Of course. You did great jobs.
Hey, we're missing Val now.
Where's Val? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Come here real quick, Val. Come over here.
Let's scoot over.
Come over here. Right here.
There we are.
Come on. There we go.
There we are. Put her in the middle. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so
doing
much.
that.
Giving us this, like you said, this helps us to learn, so we can do this.
Yeah.
Here.
So that you can
Yeah,
do this.
anything I can do to help, most definitely, please let me know, and I'll continue being there.
Thank you guys. But also thank you so much for reposting our stuff. I know you guys religiously do that. It helps us out so much.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you December 8th, Galileo in Albuquerque. Shoots. I gotta hit end.